Timbaland. You probably know the name, and if you don't, you definitely know the records. You might know him from his work with Ginuwine, Aaliyah, Missy Elliott, Rihanna, Brandy, Drake. I mean, should I go on? He's a legendary producer, songwriter, beatmaker, beatboxer. Don't worry, we're gonna get a little bit of that action in there today. I went back and listened through basically his entire production discography so that I could discover the more prominent production patterns, and then I could share them with you. And hopefully we can siphon some of that magic and use it in our own productions and make them better. So let's get to it. Producing like Timbaland. One thing that I respect the most about Timbaland is that he's super diverse, and that can make my job a little bit harder because if you're trying to narrow things down like the BPM range that he works in, it can be tough because it's so diverse. But if I had to pick just one range, it would be between 110 beats per minute and 120. So that's what we're gonna do. The first thing I want to do is get a little drum groove going. One of the things I noticed about Timbaland's kicks to start with is that they are on the boomier side. So what I like to do to accomplish this is get a more of a modern trap kick sound like this, and then layer sort of a boom bap kick on top of that and get a nice balance between the two that you like. So I picked this one here. You can hear the hat and you can hear like the room sound, and it's got kind of that like those low mids going. So if you just put those two together and then make sure you adjust your output so it's not too hot. But for the snare, on the other hand, what you really want to do is aim somewhere between a rim shot and a classic snare sound. So what I did to accomplish that was just layer both of those types of sounds together. I think I have 3 kind of rim shotty sounds, maybe 4, and then, 1 or 2 more classic snare sounds. And they're each contributing something different to the sound. So don't be alarmed by the amount of samples inside of this instrument rack. And then I'm just kind of adding some saturation and compression, and then adding a little bit of 1K. So let's get a little kick and snare groove going. When you're making the groove, just remember to keep it as simple as possible. He's an expert at keeping it simple. So one kind of common pattern I noticed that he likes to use a lot is something that goes like this. One cool thing about Timbaland that I really like that he does is instead of using a normal hat sound to function as the hat, he'll actually use perc sounds instead, which gives it kind of more of a Latin feel. If you type in perc and start assembling a few things, it gives it kind of a vibey feel. Now, in my case, what I'm going to do is I'm starting with these little, they almost sound like somebody tapping on glass with something metallic. And I'm just going to make a little sort of hat-like groove over our kick and snare pattern. And you can even get a couple like I did and pan them left and right. Sometimes he does that as well. Now, it's not to say that he doesn't use hats at all, because he actually does. What he'll do is add these like sort of more Latin perc sounds, and then he'll add an 808 hat, or like a classic, trappy 808 sounding hat like this. He'll add that onto another section to create some variation, right? So once the first part finishes, and then maybe, the hook comes in or something, he'll add the hats on top like this. All right, let's work on laying a little melody down over the groove that we just made. And like 90% of Timbaland's beats are in a minor key, so just keep that in mind. For the sounds themselves, he likes to use a lot of like hypersaws or brass sounds or like plucked string sounds. So I thought it might be cool to kind of use a plucked string sound. And considering that most of his songs are in a minor key, I thought we could use maybe like a Middle Eastern sounding like sitar loop. So I grabbed something like that from Splice, and it sounds like this. So there's some potential for us to kind of chop that up in a cool way over this beat. So let's see what we can come up with here. But instead of holding the same note, why don't we change this note here in the center to be one higher? Whew. okay, and then we could add the first part of the loop to our ending here. So we could go something like this. And then maybe on the second half, we could add a little variation. Like a triplet here or something. So if I split this little section here. Yeah, adding bass is going to be the crucial element right now. But what do we do to sound like Timbaland? Well, you can either go the 808 route or you can go like the subby bass route. But whatever route you go, he almost always follows the kick pattern with the bass line. So doom, 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 like that. So I've got this 808 sound pulled up, but it's kind of like a sub bass. It's somewhere in between the two. It doesn't have that classic like pitch envelope distorted sound that 808s have a lot of times, but I think it'll be great for this song. Here's how you follow the kick. Like none of these notes are hitting anywhere outside of where the kicks already are. So just use that as the basis for the bass line that you make, the basis for the bass line. And in this one, I'm not even going to move the notes around. Like I'm just gonna have it sitting there at the bottom, holding down like the root of everything. Sometimes you don't even need to have like an actual bass melody. You can just have it kind of hang down below everything else and just make it groove. And to make the groove a little bit more interesting than it is now, I pulled open a few loops at the beginning of this session to add somewhere. So I thought that would be cool, or maybe this one. And then here's kind of a bongo fill that we could put at the end somewhere maybe. I really just like the beginning of this little perk loop where it does that bending thing. Oh. Ooh, okay, let's cut out the beat right where this bongo fill comes in so you can hear just like the last hit on the bongo. And for one more layer, I just couldn't help myself. I do hear kind of a shaker thing, like those really wide, long sounding shakers like this. But at the same time, so you'd be like, ch-ch. Yeah, that's very, very Timbaland, especially his earlier stuff that he produced like in the early 2000s, kind of late 90s era. Yeah, this feels pretty good. This feels pretty good. The song wouldn't be complete though without adding like a little bit of beatboxing, straight up. One of the classic things that you'll hear Timbaland do is that like thing on the sides that he does so well. I'm probably going to butcher this, but we're going to try to add something anyway. I'm basically just going to loop record my beatbox track and then see if I can pluck out anything that will actually work in this beat. I don't know if there will be, but let's see. Oh my God. What if I recorded my beatboxing at halftime so I don't have to try to do this so fast because I'm not a good beatboxer? Let's see what happens. Now my idea here was to shorten it. And we could add this kind of as a fill at the end or something. Let's put this on the left side and then I'm gonna make another track that's just like it and we will widen it. I don't even know if this is gonna work, but we gotta try, you know? Timbo, this is for you. Well, at risk of embarrassing myself even further for your enjoyment, I actually hear like a little bit of a hook in here, and I'm gonna add it in because Timbaland sings on his beats sometimes. I only hear one line so far, but I'm gonna add it in because, you know, you gotta strike while the iron is hot, right? So let's record it in. Let me show you what I'm hearing. Move your hips, girl, don't be shy. You know what? Since I only have one line that I even really can think of right now, what if we just made this like little vocal thing the intro? Because sometimes he does interesting stuff with the intro. It's not just like starting the beat right away or whatever. He'll have like a little something at the beginning. So what if we just made that our thing, right? Like it just starts off and it's like, move your hips, girl, don't be shy. And that, you know, that's an idea for a hook too. Like, I could expand on that if I want, but I kind of like it as the intro. It's cool. It's different. Or maybe you guys can help me write the rest of the hook and hopefully have somebody better sing it. And one thing I like about this beat is that it's simple and it'd be really easy to add vocals on top. And that's right in Timbaland's bag right there. So yeah, this is kind of what we ended up with. What'd y'all think of this one? Let me know down below in the comment section. I hope you guys are able to put this stuff to good use and just have some fun with it. And of course, also let me know who you would love to see on the next Produce Like in the series. All right, we'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.
Move your hips, girl, don't be shy.